everyone, Josh here from the Crack, and we're back to a new Simpsons review. And if you all didn't see the last one, go and check it out. And this is another good episode. Again, this is episode 4 of season 5, and the episode starts with basically these soldiers marching at Mr. Burns' mansion. Smithers is telling them to quiet down, and Mr. Burns is having trouble sleeping, and he cuts back to his childhood when he had his teddy Bobo, and his father or his parents saying if would he rather live with his parents or go with this rich guy. Again, he goes with this rich guy, and he leaves his Bobo behind, which they just say that they could they still have his brother. And we just see his teddy was getting washed and snowed in. And again, Mr. Burns wants his old teddy bear back. And Smithers has a thought process of what he wants. And Homer, of course, freaking out because, it's his boss's birthday. And he tells Marge the last time when he was put in charge. And Mr. Burns pretty much whacking him with the stick. And he gets some clothes hangers. Meanwhile, at work, he's getting some clothes hangers pretty much basically stuck on him, even in his pants, too. And Mr. Burns obviously doing his whole, who is this guy, Smithers? And he's like, that's Homer Simpson, sir. Again, that whole gag and him saying, Simpson, eh? And he wants Homer to do this. Basically, he wants Homer to perform pretty much for his party. And Homer is basically wanting to mock Mr. Burns, and obviously Marge is actually right, saying that I don't think you should be really mocking your boss or making fun of your boss. And again, we get this paper, and they're leaving to Mr. Burns's party, and Homer says this insult to Ned, which he takes it as a oh, thanks, to go wash up. And we see these people taking presents. Again, we see these childhood pictures with Mr. Burns. And again, Mr. Burns all sad because he really wants his teddy bear. And this band comes, and Mr. Burns is obviously not pleased after he said, and Mr. Burns better go to, again, y'all know exactly if you've seen the episode. And he wants them to get out, and we see all this stuff that he's getting. And Smithers shows him these, of course, the stuff, and announcing that a dog was just run over. But then they go back to being happy, saying that Homer is now going to be mocking, and pretty much he's doing bad because he's pretty much doing bad insults to Mr. Burns, his own boss, saying that he's old and stuff, and pretty much pulled his pants down and waving his butt at Mr. Burns. And Mr. Burns obviously wants him to get out and that the party's over. So everybody starts beating all of the civilians, and Homer getting hit in the head, obviously, because, he did a bad thing of basically making fun of his boss, his own boss. And Smithers obviously telling Mr. Burns all the stuff that he's got, and Mr. Burns trying to do this whole raft thing on Smithers, but Mr. Burns is all sad, saying that all he really wants is, of course, his Bobo back, his teddy bear back, and he wonders where it could be. Which we see it of where it has been, this montage of where it's been, for all the things, and then it basically being in Appo's supermarket in Ice. And this guy saying that a couple of the people didn't make it back alive. And yeah, Bart is needing to get ice for Homer's head. And he found the bear inside the ice, which is Maggie starts to love on it. And of course, 100% rotten, and it says Bobo. Which obviously, yeah, it's Mr. Burns' bear. And Smithers tries to cheer him up. And Mr. Burns obviously doesn't want him doing that, so he tells him to go and find the bear this instant and to keep the costume. So Smithers does everything that he can, and pretty much on the news talking about Mr. Burns' bear. And obviously Homer obviously not seeing the picture at the start and telling Maggie to move the bear that he's trying to watch TV. And different people are trying to cheer up Mr. Burns, which this robotic thing goes crazy and starts attacking. Yeah, Homer trips on a skateboard and actually realizes that's Mr. Burns' bear. Which they, of course, wonder if they should give it back to him, which Homer's like, there's got to be a reward. Which Marge actually says, or Marge actually, of course, wants to be greedy for once. Which Homer wants to have his own studio. And again, they're saying if they should give it back, which they start laughing. And again, Marge wanting to be a little greedy for once. So, Homer gives him back the bear. And he wants a reward, which Mr. Burns saying that there's not gonna be, or he's low on cash, and then all his jewelry fall on top of him, and pretty much he says the deal's off and takes the bear. And he wants to call Mr. Burns, but they're trying to get him to stop. Which Mr. Burns and Smithers come to the house, and obviously wanting the bear. And Maggie is not letting go of it, and Maggie starts to be sad. And I feel bad for Maggie, too, because look at how sad she is. And obviously, Mr. Burns and Smithers are like, give him the bear, give me the bear. And Homer, obviously, gives the teddy bear back to Maggie. And Maggie is so sweet. Like, you just gotta love Maggie. She's one of my favorites because of how sweet she is. And just seeing her so happy and stuff with that bear. And of course, Homer does the right thing of what it seems, I guess. Because, again, according to Marge is the right thing. And, yeah, Grandpa Simpson busts through their window their house, saying that he ran over 3 civilians on his way there. So, Smithers and Mr. Burns obviously trying to get the bear by force. Ned comes in, obviously, to get caught. And then, obviously, Homer going out at night, eating cheese all night. And obviously, Homer getting sentenced to Mr. Burns' punishment, pretty much. There's a punishment where he's getting whipped, and Homer's friends are wondering how the little display turns, and yeah, Homer's pretty much making it turn. And Homer's trying everything that he can to get Maggie to give him the bear, even sewing the box, which he says that is his box. And Marge is actually, again, not mad that Homer actually let Maggie keep the bear, because again, it makes Maggie happy. And again, goes back into the box. And we see this purple thing, which, yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but you know, that old cartoon character that is supposed to be a reference to. That purple dinosaur thing. Again, Barney. Yeah, Barney. Barney. And it's saying, and he keeps saying 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. He just keeps repeating that. And every channel is replaced with Mr. Burns. Unless, and he says that, and all the bear will be pretty much not being took into Springfield unless if Homer gives him back the bear. And again, he keeps trying to ignore it, and yeah, Homer's pretty much got no choice. Yeah, he's got no choice. Barney comes with a gun to Homer, saying, "Give him what he wants. Give Mr. Burns what he wants," and then he closes the door, and Barney falls backwards, shoots the gun, breaks this person's window, and we hear the sirens go off. And Bart being basically picked on by Nelson and the bullies of how Homer won't give the bear back to Mr. Burns, which they then go, well, away from him. And, of course, Mr. Burns on TV, and everybody's starting to do a riot. Like, give Burns the bear. And they go in by force, pretty much taking the bear, and they see Maggie all sad, and they're wondering what have they becoming an angry mob. They give Maggie back the bear, and Mr. Burns and Smithers comes once again. Mr. Burns making Smithers do what Mr. Burns has no choice to do, which is beg, and obviously Homer still refuses. So Mr. Burns goes over to Maggie. Yup. In the sandbox. Oh boy. And yeah, Mr. Burns sucking on a pacifier that Maggie offers to him, which he gets shot with a camera to be put on the paper. And then he tries to take the bear by force, and he says that he's beaten by an infant. He gets taken in picture again, and yeah, he gives up and tells Maggie that she wins, and she has to promise to Mr. Burns to not let anything wrong with the bear. So she ends up giving back the bear to Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns is actually happy. And he tells Smithers to write it down. From now on, he's going to be happy, and again, doesn't have a note, so yeah, he's going to say he's sure he'll probably remember it. And yeah, Maggie did a sacrifice to make Mr. Burns happy, and they're wondering what kind of ending this is. Smithers tucks in Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns is finally reunited with his long-lost teddy bear, and wonder what the future holds for him. Which is say in the AD of pretty much Bobo getting found, and Mr. Burns getting Bobo, saying that he's not going to let him out of his sight again, and he runs off to the sunset, and Smithers runs off to the sunset too. A real great episode, and a real sweet ending. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, wish for notifications turned on so you don't miss anything new. Let me know what y'all think, and catch you on the next one.